Sure, no
Okay,
problem.
thank you. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. So really nice to meet you, Hannah. And I didn't introduce myself. I'm Liz Robinson. I direct the Philadelphia Solar Energy Association. And Ron Celentano with the Pennsylvania Solar and Storage Industries Association and I are partnering with NREL, which is the National Renewable Energy Lab, on a new software tool to essentially streamline solar permitting. And the beautiful thing, there are many wonderful things about this tool, but one of them is that it's completely free to municipalities. NREL is part of the Department of Energy, and they have developed this principally in order to drive the cost of solar down. And one of the things they're focusing on now is the soft cost. The soft cost is considered permitting, inspection, interconnection, metering, all of the things other than installing the system. So those costs are too high in the United States, and they're a lot of people are working on bringing those costs down right now. So if you don't mind, I'll share my screen and walk you through a little presentation. This shouldn't be, let's see, where the heck is it? It's right here. So let me find it here. I'll go through this pretty quickly because it's a pretty big presentation, but I'll just kind of skim through the parts that are not really essential.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. So that's my contact email, which you're welcome to share with anyone who might be interested in SolarAPP. And this is a really good website for more information on SolarAPP. There's a lot of different fact sheets and webinars and introductory information on that site that's all in the public domain. So that's really great. So the context here is simply that, as you know, solar PV photovoltaics is being installed at an increasingly rapid rate in Pennsylvania. And with the extension of the federal tax credits, that's really going to ramp up. We're seeing here in the southeastern part of the state a very rapid increase in the deployment of solar at all levels, at all scales. So you can see here, both in terms of capacity and numbers of systems installed, there's a very steady and steep increase. Interestingly, many of these systems are small. So the under 15 kW category here is by far the bulk of the systems. So 27,000 out of 31,000 systems in the state, 27,000 of them are small, under 15 kW. This is a fabulous new map. I don't know if you're aware of this, that this data is the Alternative Energy Portfolio Standard complying systems. And this is a new tool that the PUC just called for. And essentially it's a mapping tool. And the beautiful thing about it is you can drill down into any of these either counties or zip codes, and you can find out exactly how many systems are in each of these areas. And then of course up here, select fuel type, you can change this by type of fuel. So it includes hydro, wind, even things like coal waste, all kinds of different resources are available here. It's a fabulous tool. And this is the link to it here.
Wonderful.
I can send you these slides afterward.
Thank you.
So just parenthetically here, to give you an idea of how far behind Pennsylvania is, this is just a look at all of the other states around us on the East Coast. And we are 5th from the bottom among East Coast states in the installation of solar. But then when you run that data on a per capita basis, we're actually dead last. So that gives you an idea of how much farther ahead all the other states are around us. But also, I think, to be really honest, this is a good forecast of where we're going to be in a few years, because the demand for solar now is really, really rising. And again, it's driven by the extension of the tax credits and the electrification of end uses and all of that, and resilience. There's so many values that solar contributes to. So now I'll go into a little bit of the detail of the SolarAPP. SolarAPP was developed by the National Renewable Energy Lab in partnership with UL, Fire, everybody across the country. And it is a tool that will continue to be built out. So it is not a static software. It is one that will be maintained current with code, and it will be built out to encompass more and more related technologies. And I'll get into that in just a sec. And NREL really thinks of itself as being in partnership with the local level, with local municipalities, and is reflecting the values of safety, quality, local resilience, economic development at the local level, and local environmental goals. And so it's really a tool that is designed to support the local level. This is just a chart showing the difference in how much solar currently costs in the United States, $3.60 a watt installed, compared to half of that in Europe and Australia. And that's what I was referring to earlier, the need to drop these soft costs to drive those down. The technologies are actually becoming more consistent nationally, which makes a tool like SolarAPP possible. So right now, SolarAPP covers residential PV, and they just added batteries. So it's residential PV with or without batteries. And it is the code year that is embedded in the software right now is the NEC 2017 and IRC 2018. They are going up to 2020. So it will be soon able to support both those code years. So both the 2017-18 and the 2020 code years. But right now it's just the 2017-18. This is actually perfect timing for Pennsylvania, because as you know, Pennsylvania is moving up to the next code year for us, which is, we're right now at 2014-15, and we're moving up to 17-18. So this will help municipalities in that transition, because this tool already is tied to the code that we're moving into. So this will be one less thing people have to worry about. There are a couple of exceptions here that it doesn't work on. You can't use it if you've got a wood shake roof, and you can't use it if you've got a metal roof with a high snow load. So there are a couple of exceptions. The other thing I wanted to mention here is that they are moving to, as I mentioned, to build out the tool, and it will soon incorporate EV charging stations, permitting of EV charging stations at the local level, and then certain electric appliances and other technologies that are emerging. And I think that that's a really huge benefit here, is that, I don't know if you've ever worked with NREL, but it's just loaded with brilliant engineers and scientists. And this is kind of like a technical assistance team, if you will, that is supporting local municipalities as all of these emerging technologies roll out. So, it's a very challenging time for the local officials, because everything is changing and is going to continue to change for some time. So this is a particularly wonderful tool to support the local level in that. So the way it works is really simple. It's like any online application, really. The contractor installs his information. The system is checking every single entry. And if there's an entry that is incorrect, like misspelled or confusing or doesn't comply with code or is the wrong equipment, it immediately catches that and pops it up and says, this is an error, you can't proceed. Essentially, you have to, this won't fly. So the installer doesn't have to complete the application. He can just quit and modify his information and modify his design if necessary, and then start again. And then once he's got an application that complies with everything, he hits the final set of screens where he pays the fee, and the fee is whatever the municipality has set. And then he can print. He can print the permit. If the municipality has authorized the permit to be completed and fulfilled, he can print it right there on the spot, and he's got his permit. So this cuts the time for permitting, for rooftop solar permitting, from about, right now it's running about 2 weeks. So it cuts that down from about 14 days to roughly an hour or so, if everything is correct. And another nice aspect of this is that it can be a standalone. So if a municipality, for example, has only paper processes for all of their permitting, this is perfectly fine. And SolarAPP can be a standalone online system. What happens in that case is that the data flows into a file that the municipality has, and all of that data, of course, is stored, and that belongs to the municipality. So the information flows immediately to a file that's available to them, and they can print it if they choose to have a paper copy. That's perfectly fine. And the system also can be integrated with existing online software. So if a municipality is using permitting software already, the SolarAPP can be integrated with that, and it's already been integrated with most of the leading permitting software in the country that's in use today. And that process will continue because different municipalities use different online tools, but most municipalities in Pennsylvania are still on paper with all their processes.
Okay, thank you. I had one question about inputting the information. So the installer would type information into the system, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you in a second a few of the screens, the way this looks actually. So this then, I've already covered most of this, but the last step here is the launch. And before it's launched, there's always kind of a pilot stage where the municipality chooses, it could be 1 or 2 or 3 installations to test it out essentially, and make sure that everything is working the way they want it to be working. And so this last step is more or less a pilot phase, just to prove that everything is the way they want it to be. And then they can launch it as a as a public facing tool. So the demo, and so this is just a registration page where they just put in their name and address and their identifying information. But this kind of will show you the way, and I'll just pull this up a tiny bit more here. Hopefully you can see this. This is a little tough to see.
I can see that.
So it has these basic sections. So this is just basic information, where is it and all of that. And then there's a fire section, structure, electrical, workers' comp, and then a summary. And so what NREL has done is to combine the structural permitting requirements and the electrical permitting requirements in this application. So as you know, in most municipalities, you have to go get a structural permit, and then, or a building permit, it's usually called, and then you got to go get an electrical permit. So all of these, different steps takes a lot of time. And what NREL has done is bring these together. So that's one of the reasons that it's so elegant. So it covers, all the basic things: system size. The parameters, of course, are set by the local municipality. This is all the fire code requirements. And as I mentioned, NREL is collaborating very closely with National Fire folk and also with UL, and has that tied in. All of that support is woven in here. This is now compliant with, as I mentioned, the 2017-18 code. So it will, once the installer keys in his information, it will show the code required pathways for access by fire officials if there ever were an event. So, the new code is a little more strict on access, roof access, and the diagram will show that roof access pathway for the fire folk, should they ever need it, or anyone else who has to maintain the system, perhaps. This is the structural section. Let's see if I can go a little tighter on here so you can read these. So, the year of the house, what the weight of the PV system, the nature of the mounting, maximum height of the module, all of this information is necessary. And they want to know what is the current roof material. In most cases, it'll be composite shingle, but whatever the roof material. As I mentioned, there are a couple of things that cannot be covered here. Wooden shake is the primary one. How many layers of composite shingle are currently present? Because if there are more than 2, it cannot go on. The weight of the system will exceed code. So so all of this data then is collected and analyzed. And this is where all of the equipment, so the very specific equipment, and this equipment has to match up with approved equipment lists. So again, if there is anything that is out of date or inconsistent or incompatible, all of that will fail the application. The application will fail, and the installer will be told right away what's wrong with it. How many modules, size of the modules, what kind of racking, all of that goes in. And lots of additional data. And then the contractor has to certify that he has the proper insurance. So that certification is captured here as well. And then he can proceed to to complete the application. Another nice thing that is built into this is so if a municipality adopts SolarAPP for permitting, SolarAPP will also print out this inspection checklist. And these inspection forms can be given to, most municipalities are using a third-party inspector, so can be given to whoever the inspector is, either the in-house person or the third party. And these then tie, so the inspector has all of this information and is able to review every single detail. It's about 20 pages, so it's a tremendous level of detail, and the inspector can check all of these things on site. And then, as I mentioned, he goes into the payment, and he's done.
Now, you mentioned that the installer can print out the permit, essentially, yes, not a permit, but an approval after the municipality has essentially given the okay. Is there a way a municipal official can give that okay through the system, or what is it that triggers the printing?
Yes, it can be automated. So it really is up to the municipality. But the design of the software is that the municipality authorizes the use of the software for permitting, and the installer can pay for and print out his permit.
Okay,
And
so
I think
the
I mentioned this,
default is the municipality doesn't have to sign off on it. It's the system is essentially saying
yes,
all of the requirements have been met, so this can print now.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's correct. Yes.
Now, the municipalities that require supporting documentation, such as site plans and whatnot, is there a way to upload that into the system, or would that still be a separate process? And all of the supporting plans and documents that typically are submitted with an application?
Right now, it is a separate process, but we're working with NREL because, frankly, the inspection and the interconnection process in Pennsylvania require plans, a document. And we're working to enable that document to be uploaded during the permitting application process. We don't have it nailed down quite yet, but we're in discussion with NREL about adding that. That is a feature that is already built into the inspection process here. So it's very easy for them to do it, but we're working on that with them right now. And there is a workaround. So, it's possible to use the system and to prohibit the printing of the permit until the document has been submitted. But it's a little laborious. And it's really easy enough to modify this to enable the document to be uploaded.
Okay. Thank you.
And the other thing I should mention is right now, this is kind of an early phase for SolarAPP. So right now, the contractor, in addition to paying the permit fee, which is again, whatever the municipality says it is, and that goes directly into the bank account of the municipality.
Mhm.
So in addition to doing that, the contractor pays a very small fee, $25, which is kind of like permit expediting fee. And that $25 goes directly to NREL.
Okay.
And the reason for that is NREL is trying to recover some of its early stage development and roll out the cost of rolling this out across the country. So it's and what we found so far is that contractors, frankly, are thrilled to pay that in order to get their permit done. And the value for them is that delays in permitting often lead to job cancellation. And job cancellation is a lot of money down the drain. So for a contractor to know that they can apply and receive their permit in a very timely manner, $25 is well worth it. So that's not caused any problems.
And how would a municipality go about inputting the specific fee and the municipality's bank account, et cetera? Would that all be done by working with NREL?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the process basically is the municipality would need to contact us. We'll put them in touch with the right person at NREL. And there's a technical assistance phase where they review the system in detail. They make sure they want to go forward. There's a lot of discussion, and usually the whole team at the municipality, it's usually 2 or 3 key people who have to make this decision. They investigate the tool, they make sure they want to use it. They input all of the specific information that is required for them, for that municipality, and then they move into a real testing phase. But they take it one step at a time so that the municipality is certain that they want to go forward with it.
And do you know how many municipalities are currently using this tool?
Yeah, it's in excess of about 40 now.
Okay.
Most of them are in the West, so California, Arizona, Western states where solar is more prevalent. Because the need for it out there is greater because their backlog, I'll call it, has been getting worse and worse and worse in a lot of counties. So it's the tool has really relieved that backlog. And then NREL decided that they wanted to roll it out nationwide. So Pennsylvania was selected as one of 9 states to implement in this phase, in this first rollout phase. So they're now actively 11 to 12 states that are underway with, rolling it out.
Wonderful. This is very helpful. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My pleasure. And the NREL folk are wonderful to work with. They're just a dream. So if you want to meet any of them and want a follow-up, just let me know, because I think that, to be frank, I think that at the local level, municipal officials are a little overwhelmed. And I think the fact that these technologies keep changing and there's more and more new technologies coming at them all the time, and then the code is changing, it's just a lot. And again, the quality of the staff at NREL is so high that it's wonderful to have that as a resource to back them up.
Yes, I would like to be in touch with them. And I think especially the battery storage, inclusion of battery storage will be particularly helpful because, as you say, I mean, that's very new, I would imagine, to a lot of local officials. Solar panels are quite new, but battery storage is even newer in some respects and might pose concerns about fire, et cetera. So it's quite useful that it also incorporates that.
Yeah, I think, and I think, at least here in the Southeast, customers are really anxious to move forward, and it's gotten, Philly in Philadelphia, they've not automated permitting yet, but they've streamlined permitting. And they undertook that process about a year ago. But now the next step will be to adopt SolarAPP and automate. And I think the confidence in the tools, the confidence in the software, and the processes that are embedded in these tools is going to grow as the tool is implemented in the state, so that more and more municipalities will become confident that this is really the way to go for them.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. I will follow up about the NREL contacts, and I really appreciate your taking the time to walk me through that.
And I'll send you these slides.
That would be wonderful. And if you could send the link to the recording as well, it'd be much appreciated.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Liz.
Great to meet you, Hannah.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.